Is Ripple and XRP tied back to the BRICS and their new financial system? Well, let's talk about it. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. Here we have a post that came up on my timeline today. And, I've made videos in the past regarding, BRICS connections to XRP, and it might have gotten overlooked in the past, but I wanted to do an updated one because we now have a lot more connections back to the BRICS. And ultimately, it could be paving the way for Ripple and XRP to be exposed through some of these payment initiatives. So we're going to talk about that. So this is the post by Good Morning Crypto, and it was originally taken from Xrp Drops, as we do have him, quoting the image. We have breaking Ripple connections to BRICS Pay, a new global digital payment platform. BRICS Pay is a digital payments platform being developed by the member countries of BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. BRICS Pay aims to enable digital payments to an additional 3 billion users between the different countries in BRICS. Ripple Connections, SBI, HSBC, Ownerfreak, MFS Africa, Banco Brazil. Will Ripple and XRP play a role in the new BRICS payment system? Now, the alt season time bomb is ticking, and now is the best time to go and get your free access to 30 secret crypto gems that I personally have researched completely for you so that you can save a ton of time and make a ton of money. The link down in the description below takes you guys to this page where you can claim your free access instantly right now, free of charge. It's completely free. So what are you doing? What are you waiting for? Go and click the link down in the description below, as well as in the comments below, to get access now. This is the image. This is not the original image, by the way. The actual original image looks like this without the Ripple logos and stuff like that. But we have at the top Ripple, we have India, Brazil, we also have South Africa. Now, as you actually look at this, you have a lot of big players tapped in. For an example, down here in the South Africa stage, you have MFS Africa being tapped in. You have Alipay, UnionPay, like all these payment applications and things that could very well expose specific projects that are utilized within them. They could be exposed to BRICS Pay. And that's where a lot of people are looking at this and saying, all right, well, like these are, Ripple connections. For an example, we have like Banco de Brazil or Itaú with Ripple, or even SBI and HSBC up here, and M-Pesa or, MPS or MFS Africa. Sorry. Like these are the connections back to Ripple. But what if I told you that there's a lot more? What if I told you that this is just barely scratching the surface? Well, let's actually look into that. So first off, a lot of posts have been going around. For an example, here we have how BRICS Pay will work in retail via a mobile phone and QR code. 3 billion people are ready to use BRICS Pay, 42% of the population in the world. Check it out. Let me actually turn this down. It's just music. But here we have the actual BRICS Pay application. We have them selecting a QR code scanner. Then they're getting scanned at the checkout. And that's basically how they would be paying for goods and services, all through a QR code scanner. And this one is him buying, it looks like wine. And it just goes through the application like that. It's basically like Google Pay or Apple Pay, if you will, technically, just with a QR code. Now, the difference here is with this BRICS Pay is that it's almost instant. It's going through a full new payment structure. It's cutting out all Western connects like Swift, for an example, and pretty much making the entire process a lot faster. Now, also over here, we have, it is absolutely impressive to see that the Ripple net plays a significant role in the various BRICS countries. The same applies to BRICS Plus. BRICS Pay countries are expected to be made in wholesale CBDCs. SBI, Ripple, HSBC, Ripple, Ownerfreak, MFS Africa, Ripple, Banco Brazil, Itaú, Ripple. Again, these are just those connections. Back here, if we go to the BRICS Pay website, we can see decentralized multi-currency digital international payment system. Again, it's all about decentralization. It's all about connecting multiple payment systems together. And when we really kind of look at this, right, it's all through to new technologies, including, of course, CBDCs. For example, we have BRICS Pay set benefits from a combination of traditional payment systems and new technologies, such as central bank digital currencies, decentralized finance, and tokenized assets, secured money. BRICS Pay is an expansion of payment options for companies and citizens of participating countries, as well as for the entire world and all existing or emerging payment solutions. We can see decentralization, interoperability, justice, efficiency, responsibility, inclusiveness, security, transparency, sustainability. And here's that video clip that I just showed you guys. Here's the actual structure of it as well. And again, you can see that it supports the Swift messaging standard and will also work with SIPs and SPFS messaging, but it's independent. So it means that it supports them, but it doesn't utilize them. And over here, we have message conversion as well, settlements and clearing, and also the Brics CBDC. So it's very interesting on what they're using here, but also what I find very interesting is how the CBDC section of this breakdown with Brics Pay, because this is how it looks, it reads very similar to mBridge. This is what mBridge looks like. This is what their CBDC system looks like. Remember that the Central Bank of Russia and a lot of the central banks tied to the other BRICS nations, they're all a part of the BIS. And also when you actually look at a lot of the banks that are tied into, you know, some of these POCs, a lot of them go right back to the BRICS nations anyways. So in my opinion, I do feel as though this is kind of mBridge starting to, you know, get pushed out to the public. Now, also, where does the Ripple connections lie? Well, first off, the BIS, we know, is working with Ripple through the CPMI group. We also know a lot of the individuals that have put out, you know, POC trials with the BIS. A lot of those individuals are tied back to discussions with Ripple, meaning those private meetings. We also know that the BIS has had multiple private meetings with Ripple, which I've given you guys insights on. And then as we do look at the connections back to the BRICS, right? Because even if we go back to that first image, these are not just the only connections. For an example, here we have back in June of 2020, Ripple and Brazil Central Bank hold closed meeting to discuss institutional matters. And this is a very interesting one because, you know, this is right around the time that we started to kind of see discussions of a new financial system really kind of growing more heavily. Again, if you were around during 2020, then you know that even back then, the whole discussion and the whole rumor was, you know, XRP is going to be the new financial system. It's going to move, you know, money, because even then, the Internet of Value was still a very heavy discussion. Like, this is not like some new rumor that, oh, like Ripple and XRP are going to move, you know, X, Y, and Z amount of money. Like, no, like this has always been the thing. But outside of that, we also have more recently Travelex Bank accesses new markets and customers with Ripple Ripple payments. Now, remember, as a partner of Ripple's, you got to remember Travelex Bank is a massive giant. In fact, over here we have the first domestic exchange bank to be approved by the Central Bank of Brazil. Travelex Bank provides foreign exchange and payment services for customers worldwide. Outside of this, here we have Russia, right? So this is where things get a little bit interesting. You probably already saw this PDF file in the past. Down here, we have, in the first half of 2018, the Bank of Russia's Novosibirsk Innovative Laboratory conducted research on testing the possibility of cross-border settlements using the Ripple platform. The system technology assumed that the settlement participants had special accounts opened in national payment systems and addresses in the Ripple network. Reflection of operations in national payment systems could be performed both after each transfer and at the end of the trading day or at certain intervals. Based on the research results, it was concluded that the Ripple platform can be considered on the basis for starting work on creating a system of cross-border settlements, provided that the following organizational, legal, and technical issues were resolved. Use for XRP transfers or equivalents of fiat currencies issued by each participant, the national bank. Determination of a mechanism for reconciling balances between the accounts of Ripple participants and the national payment system. Use of embedded cryptographic solutions on the Ripple network. Development of a procedure for determining cross rates for the internal currency of Ripple XRP when deciding to use XRP in interstate settlements, and then maintaining correspondence directories between the addresses of the accounts of Ripple network participants and the accounts of the banks they serve in national payment systems. And again, this is from the central bank in Russia. Like, this is one of the largest banks in Russia utilizing Ripple, tapping into it for a POC, and even mentioning XRP within this full breakdown. And even this whole title is Foreign and Russian Experience of Blockchain Digitization by Central Banks, Financial and Technology Companies. This goes all the way back to 2018, 2020 as well. Now, also over here in terms of India, November 7th of 2019. This was Swell 2019, and this is enabling financial inclusion with blockchain and digital assets. And this is actually from the former governor of the Reserve Bank of India and also the professor of finance at the University of Chicago. They took stage at Swell 2019 and underscored the important role that technology, including blockchain and digital assets, plays in fueling economic growth, increasing financial inclusion, and ultimately revolutionizing businesses in emerging markets around the world. Now, even then, we heard about cross-border payments in tokenization with central banking and more. So even then, this was kind of alluding to where we were really kind of moving towards, which is a tokenized world, essentially on DLT, blockchain. CBDCs are tapped in, obviously, but remember, like, these are the significant connections back to these BRICS nations. Don't lose focus on that. Here we have Ripple's Indian partner joins digital rupee CBDC project, and this is Yes Bank actually with UPI, and this is interoperability, right? So Yes Bank has announced that it launched Unified Payments Interface UPI interoperability to take part in the RBI operations with the digital INR. And also, if we go back to that first, breakdown where we go to India, you can actually see UPI being mentioned right under IMPS and above BHIM. Again, another connection right back to Ripple. Now, beyond that, we also have over here, Ripple reportedly opens new regional office in India amid ongoing SEC lawsuit. And this goes back to May of 2022. Again, Ripple's already centered there, already does business in India, and has some significant connections back to India. And by the way, we have the selected applicant will guide the deployment of various central bank digital currency projects because they're actually hiring within India, or at least were back in 2022. Now, beyond that, we also have over here, this is also with India, Ripple to deliver first real-time payments from Oman to India using blockchain. And this goes back to May of 2021. And this was also a pretty big announcement regarding, again, another deep connection to India. A lot of connections back to, like I said, the BRICS nations. Now, beyond that, we also have China. Now, China, it doesn't go too deep. It's pretty much only this one. I know that there's like some connections back to like Alipay and WeChat and stuff, but here we have welcome China's central bank, industry, and academic leaders to Ripple's HQ to discuss the latest blockchain trends. And this goes all the way back to August of 2017. Now, beyond that, we have some connections back to this article with China. This is August of 2018. We have Ripple definitely wants to target China with its blockchain-based payments tech. Executive says China is definitely a target for Ripple. Jeremy Light, the firm's VP of EU strategic accounts, told CNBC. Among Ripple's clients is the Hong Kong-based financial services firm Lian Lian International. If it were to seek entry into China, Ripple's focus would unlikely be on advancing the adoption of XRP. So again, as we really look at that, I don't know if they're still focused on China or anything like that today, but that was something that they were talking about back in 2018. And again, we already know that the Central Bank of China, industry and academic leaders as well, met with Ripple at the Ripple HQ back in 2017. Now, beyond that, South Africa. So recently, April of 2022, Zago announces its first stablecoin outside of South African rands, ex-US, supporting the US dollar. Again, this was back in 2022. This is also a connection right back to South Africa because Zago was founded in 2016 in South Africa. Beyond this, we also have Mercury to boost remittance time and money savings to South Africa using on-demand liquidity. And then, of course, last but not least, Onafreak, Ripple's partner. Onafreak, or Ripple partners with Onafreak for African cross-border payment channels. And if you don't remember, let's go over to Onafreak's website. They are a pan-African payments company which enables interoperable cross-border and domestic digital payments. We boast a multicultural, multi-talented, agile team from over 30 different nations that is driven to create access to a borderless world for millions of Africans and African businesses. And also, if you actually scroll down to what their focus is, they want to become a network of networks. And this is absolutely dominating within the African region, but also beyond Africa as well. Guys, this is definitely one that you want to keep a focus on because of how substantial they actually are. But this is also another big step for, Ripple, because, this is a South African fintech company that is absolutely dominating within Africa, but also across its borders with Gulf Cooperation Council, the UK, and even Australia as well. So it's actually a very big one. And it just shows you how deep these connections really go with Ripple. Now, I've talked about this in the past, but I really wanted to bring it up again because I want you guys to understand, like, Ripple connections go well beyond just like the surface level ones. Like, combining this with everything that we know about these connections, is Ripple being utilized within BricsPay? Is XRP being utilized within BricsPay? I think that what this is really telling us is, if we're looking at this BricsPay diagram, right, and we're actually looking at the names tied to like Russia, we don't really have a lot of names in Russia that Ripple is a part of. But like in India, for example, with SBI, UPI, yeah, Ripple and XRP could be exposed. Or even in Brazil as well, like Ripple could be exposed, Banco de Brazil, or even with the Tao, and also China, right? HSBC is a big one. We know that. Ripple is tied back to that. We also know that Ripple is tied back to WeChat Pay and Alipay. There's connections back to those two platforms since going back to like 2016, maybe even a little bit earlier, like maybe 2018. But then also South Africa, MFS Africa is a massive giant, which is Owner Freak now. So yeah, Ripple and XRP could 100% be exposed to some of these payment platforms and names through BricsPay because of those partnerships that are already in place and those connections in place. That's why I always say, like, don't write off the fact that, like, Ripple and XRP could 100% be utilized within any sort of BRICS initiative because of how connected RippleNet or Ripple Payments actually is. So with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys would definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.